Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. The Petroleum Federation of India, or PetroFed, is the apex society of entities in the hydrocarbon sector. The organization acts as an industry interface with government and regulatory authorities, helping in resolution of issues and development of policies and regulations in the oil and gas industry. With an aim to recognize and felicitate individuals and organizations who have excelled in various domains in the sector, PetroFed organized the annual PetroFed Oil and Gas Industry Awards.
We are glad to announce that we are well into the way of paving the steps towards the determined bright future of the oil and gas industry. Last year, we saw our Honorable Minister wishing PetroFed to be a thought leader for oil and gas conglomeration. It is in keeping with his guidance that PetroFed has transformed itself into a more vibrant and policy formulating organization relevant to the stakeholders and the industry at large. Today, as we felicitate the who's who of the oil and gas industry through our prestigious awards, it's indeed a renewed pledge that we at PetroFed take to make sure that this think tank is able to deliver further into the promises that it has made to itself and the fraternity to excel in its endeavor of being a progressive and credible advisory body stimulating growth of Indian hydrocarbon sector. Thank you very much and welcome to all once again. Thank you.
The oil and gas industry is undergoing a lot of transformation. There are new policies and several measures that have been taken to stimulate growth in the industry. The event saw a huge gathering of corporations, innovators, technologists, and industry thought leaders expressing views on the same.
Unlike in many countries that we operate, the rules in India state that it has to be a greenfield site, which requires acquisition of land, which we all know can take very long, and countless permits. A single window clearance would be of great benefit to all of us. Another positive change is the government's enlightened willingness to tackle climate change. It has pledged to reduce emissions by around 35% by 2030, with ambitious targets to boost the share of renewables in the energy mix. The government has also recognized the need for innovative, emerging technologies like waste to energy. Hopefully, it will go the extra step and grant a level playing field for all forms of bioenergy.
A panel discussion on implications of GST on the oil and gas sector was also held to gauge how the changes in the new tax regime will affect the oil and gas industry. The discussion saw oil and gas executives, industry analysts and policy experts respond to key questions on the market and contribute data to this informative exercise.
Start with Mr. Raghavendran. For you, how is this? Good, bad or ugly?
I think quite a lot will depend on the rules that are formed subsequently. The zero rating of many of these products, which the finance minister spoke about, would probably solve a large part of these problems. But if that doesn't happen in the GST Council, or if alternate measures are not found, the industry will end up with higher amount of standing, higher amount of cost than what it is used to be.
Thank you. I think the refining sector clearly is going to live with a split personality, so to speak, because half in, half out. It's a very challenging situation. But how about the upstream sector, Dr. Srinivasan?
For the upstream also, as Mr. Raghavendra was mentioning, that again these taxes will be standard. We can't take the credit because natural gas and crude oil is becoming excluded from the GST. Whereas certain products are forming part of it. So handling this mixed product regime in the system is going to be a very difficult process. As Raghavendra also mentioning, the compliance issue is also going to be a very difficult proposal because we'll have to maintain the GST and the earlier existing taxes in the system. So this will be definitely a challenging task for the company to work on.
Okay. For the Mr. Prakash, for the pipeline segment and also petrochemicals, the two segments which you are principally in, is there a difference in the impact? How do you see it playing out, GST playing out for your segments?
It will definitely, go to increase the cost of my production, because the Senvet credit which was otherwise available would now be missed. So not only for petrochemicals, for other industries, for fertilizer as well, this would be resulting into an increase in the cost of production. Besides what Mr. Srinivasan has said, the compliance issue will of course be there, because GAIL is also dealing in products which are under the GST and which are not under the GST. So the compliance issues, the cost of compliances will go up. We have to go for registration virtually in every state now. So it is quite a challenge.
Dr. Sharma, from the pump prices standpoint, how does it look?
GST is a welcome step for the country, for the economy, and we fully support that. But then for petroleum industry, dealing with the dual mechanism, both from compliance point of view as well as from cost point of view, I think we are in the most difficult spot. It becomes a burden on our revenue, our profits, so we will have to work out some other way. Maybe we will be taking up with the government, because when we are supporting the move, at least we should not be saddled with the additional burden, instead of passing it on to the customer, which I think is not directly feasible as per the prevailing practices.
We'll come to Mr. Gupta on that, but before that, Mr. Garg, LNG, NG, CNG, have you assessed this problem? Because these are very important parts of the whole segment, and then because the tax definitions are different, there could be different implications. Have you assessed the implication of these?
Purpose of introduction of GST was basically for ease of compliance, for reducing cascading impact, and if we are facing with the same issue for the industry where 30% of the revenue is contributed by this industry. And another thing which I just wanted to mention about the natural gas. Natural gas itself, we see the total revenue generation by the states. So natural gas keeping out from the day one from the out of GST should have been a good proposition. I think GST Council should consider from the day one, and the way that we'll be doing the business, confusion will start that whether LNG or CNG or PNG out of it or not. And ultimately, if there is a cost involved into it, some part of that is ultimately coming to the government. If like in case of a fertilizer, if there is an increase in the cost, ultimately the government is paying through the subsidies because the retail price is fixed. So I think government should reconsider initial stage instead of creating a complication later for this industry to take out some of the, may not be all, but at least natural gas will propagate, that should be taken out. It will not have much impact as far as the overall revenue of the states are concerned.
So actually you make a very important point, and I'm going to come to Mr. Gupta on that one. So the point which you're making is that because of all these changes which are half-done changes, and also that natural gas has come as an appendage to oil and gas, and this time unfortunately it's losing out in the bargain, there are a whole lot of distortions which are coming, which can have potentially inflationary impact both on fuel, food and all such prices. But I see another prospect which is very disturbing, which is that the government's intervention will become necessary at various stages, and we can fall back very quickly to a control regime from a decontrol regime. Now that's a real risk which is there, just to manage the process. So around all these questions, Mr. Gupta, which you have heard, which are the challenges which you have heard, and also the point which I worry about at this time, both on inflation as well as on the controls. What would be your perspective, and what should be the path taken by the industry?
We are examining that can there be any ways and means that the cascading can be reduced. So we are conscious of that fact, and we are examining what can be done. And at the same time, GST is not a decision which has to be taken by center or by states alone. It is a collective decision which is to be taken by the center and the state governments together. So the agreement, what has been reached so far is that let us include it in constitution, the petroleum products, but for the time being, till we gain experience in GST regime. Because GST is a uncharted territory. We don't know what would be the impact of revenue. For last 70 years, we are into origin-based taxation. Now we are suddenly moving to destination-based taxation. Different states as well as center have different apprehension, different concerns. So a collective decision has been taken after substantial amount of discussions, that some unanimity has been achieved, and this is what is in front of us. That is my sense, because then we will be in a position to mitigate the problems. That is what I would say.
Right. So thank you very much.
Joining efforts to assess the new business environment in the hydrocarbon sector, ION and Petroleum Federation of India released the results of their first ever market survey on India's oil and gas industry. The idea of the survey was to get feedback on how the investors perceive the business environment, related specifically to the oil and gas sector.
In order to assess the mood of the people, the mood of the industry in terms of how they look at, how they perceive these policies, in terms of whether they would be investing more or not, whether they see that these policies are progressive. So ION wanted to do a survey and they joined hands with us.
Well, the overall result of the survey done by ION has been very revealing. I would also say that it's not very surprising, because being in India, we know that it's the fastest growing economy in the world as of today. And the survey results also indicate a lot of optimism and positivity in terms of the oil and gas sector in India. We all recognize that the oil and gas growth story is here to stay, and accordingly the people in the industry have indicated that they are very upbeat in terms of making large investments in the sector, and all these augur very well for the oil and gas sector.
Yeah, survey was an internal survey within the industry, and so it is reflecting the views of the industry with regard to the investment climate in the country. And to that extent, it has played a useful role in highlighting what they think is the climate in the industry, catalogued in a sensible manner. We will need to also broad base it a little bit more and look at potential external investors. What do they think about the investment climate? And that is something which we would recommend the same surveyors to handle the next time.
The PetroFed Annual Award boasted over 100 entries from a plethora of organizations who shared a collective competitive streak. Initiated in the year 2007, there are 15 categories of awards which felicitate the star performers in the ever-transforming hydrocarbon sector. The first award was Responsibly Growing Corporate of the Year, which was given to Indian Oil Corporation. The Game Changer Oil and Gas Company Award of the Year was bagged by Kane India. Oil India was felicitated with Exploration and Production Company of the Year. The award for Refinery of the Year was given to SR Oil. Indian Oil Corporation also received the award for Oil and Gas Pipeline Transformation Company of the Year. In the category Oil and Gas Marketing Company of the Year, the award went to Hindustan Petroleum Corporation. HPCL Mittal Energy was felicitated with the Human Resources Management Company of the Year award. Indraprastha Gas won the award for City Gas Distribution Company of the Year. A team led by BP Das from Indian Oil Corporation was awarded the Innovator Term of the Year. And Hembala P. Dixit from SR Oil was felicitated with the Woman Executive of the Year award.
PetroFed Award, it's really truly an inspiring award, which is just awarding the excellence and the innovation in the oil and gas industry, and it is really a very motivating, and one feels very honored for the award which is given for the the huge work and the effort which is put behind any job.
This was work done by our colleagues in the past, and we only came to receive it. And I think still it feels wonderful, and it's very good for the company. And I think everyone will be delighted.
I think it is a wonderful concept, because the concept of rewarding excellence, I think in any walk of life is very important, especially in a field like oil and gas, which is inherently so dynamic. These awards are something which people in the oil and gas sector in India really look forward to year after year, and that's why you saw it was such an overwhelming participation from the attendees, and they listened to everything and they saw everything with such rapt attention.
Actually, the PetroFed Awards are the most sought after awards in the industry. These have been instituted to award the best of the performance in various domains of the hydrocarbon industry, whether it is refining, whether it is marketing, or whether it is pipeline, or whether it is environmental sustainability. So by the presence of all these CEOs, board members who come here, you can say that you can imagine the kind of competitiveness these awards bring in. So every company aspires to get as many awards as they can, or the best awards, kind of thing, recognition. This is a great recognition, I believe, for the industry members.
When you get these awards, you feel that your efforts have been recognized, and they are recognized in an industry which is having a lot of competition. So naturally you feel very happy, you feel very proud in a sense, and it puts more responsibility to you to perform better in the future.
I think that's a good initiative of PetroFed to recognize outstanding achievements in the sector. There is tremendous amount of interest among all the oil companies in India to participate on a yearly basis in these awards. And this year we have had a record number of entries in almost all categories.
Initiated by PetroFed in association with ICRA, a report on impact of soft global crude oil prices on Indian oil and gas industry was also released.
This award ceremony has become an annual milestone for the hydrocarbon industry in India, as it enhances the spirit of healthy competition and acts as an incentive for corporates and individuals to excel. I would also like to say that our ministry needs an efficient and responsive oil and gas industry to take forward its plans and programs in the national interest. Towards that end, it is befitting that PetroFed, the Apex Industry Association, honors excellence in various fields of oil and gas operations in the country through these awards, and is constantly engaged in activities for the benefits of this sector. Let me once again take this opportunity to compliment the PetroFed for organizing this award ceremony and wish you all the success in your respective endeavors.
On behalf of PetroFed, I would like to thank all present here, because the very presence of such a large number of dignitaries gives the function the importance it deserves, gives the award winners a sense of pride and joy in having won the award in a very distinguished galaxy, amongst a distinguished galaxy of competition. And the fact that it's not easy to apply for an award, it requires a lot of effort, a lot of putting in of data, justifying why you deserve the award. And I must thank the jury for patiently going through all the submissions and selecting the best among the lot of award winners. I thank all of you for coming here, recognizing the award winners, and in particular, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister and Sri Tripathi ji for having agreed
to be present today. Though our minister couldn't be present, I'm sure he is engaged in a very important task at this point of time on behalf of this sector. I'm sure that their support will continue to take us to greater heights in the days to come.
With a successful series of presentations and discussions, the event concluded on an inspiring and motivating note. Competitors from the industry were unanimous in their exhilaration at being recognized for their efforts. The PetroFed Awards, like it does every year, succeeded in recognizing and rewarding excellence in the oil and gas sector.